blah, 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 blah. How's that? So I'm often asked, how do we get big ideas on demand? So I want you to close your eyes for just a minute. And I want you to think about this question. Where are you usually, and what are you doing when you get your best ideas? Shower, walking, running, jogging, eating, staring out the window. We can't have our best ideas at work. Why not? The number one barrier to innovation when you ask people is, I don't have time to think. You step in the shower, big idea. Walk away from the argument, killer one-liner. Why? Because I gave myself time to think. Playfulness. My job is to be playful. Google this. What percentage of my brain is conscious? 13% of your brain is conscious. 87% of your brain is subconscious. Every innovation you've ever seen, every creative problem you've ever solved is back here to help you solve the next challenge. But when that door is shut, you can't access it. I'm deliberately playful. I run energizers to hear laughter. The moment I hear laughter, I know that metaphorically I've placed you back in the shower where you are when you have your best ideas. That is the importance of playfulness at the right time. And that's how people can have big ideas at work. Creativity and curiosity, two of the most employable skill sets for the next decade because they'll be the hardest to program into artificial intelligence. And yet we drum them out of ourselves by the time we leave school. I did an experiment at a university recently where I had 3,000 students in the room. And I brought in one first grade class of 6-year-olds. And I asked them who was creative. 30 little 6-year-olds, me, 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 me. Not one university student put their hand up.
I think one error that leaders often make is to go first. Because they're passionate, because they are knowledgeable, they'll go first, they'll say their view, their opinion, and sometimes that can create an inhibition for others to say something different. It's an instinct that most of us have, and they have to sort of take a deep breath and slow down and think first, right? And rather than just react.
I believe a lot of people conflate management and leadership, and I see management as the job of influencing other people and leadership as the job of empowering other people to be influential.
In most organizations, I see that there is a lot of day-to-day leadership, but this space for this new ideas, this liminal leadership, many times that's not really truly facilitated, and therefore it gets squeezed and we don't make time for it. And I think that's where we need to look into if we go through the changes we are going through in this world with all the wicked problems. We need more liminal leadership. And that's a type of leadership which takes, care of this not knowing, of this, how do we define the world which is not there yet? And archetypically, it's not the chiefs, it's the shamans, it's the magicians, it's the artists. It's the one who can picture something which is not there yet. It's those who facilitate the magical time, you could say, during transformations.
The ability to take risks is more important than it's ever been before in organizations. And the number one reason why that's true is because innovation is more important than it's ever been. And you simply can't innovate if you're not willing to take risks.
But I think we're now at a time of great change that affects every aspect of our life. The calculated risk now, it's the only way, not the best, only way to stay on top of your game.
It's easy to say, take risks, be bold. You have to realize and be open about the fact that that means some portion of the time it's not going to go well. So you have to take risks in order to innovate. You also have to take risks, what I call interpersonal risks, in order to communicate clearly, in order to get the help you need to do your job well.
What I feel is important that leaders take care of their people. And to my feel, they need two types of forces. It's about power and love. So leaders need to create the space and put the power in place for things to change if they need to change. And it's the balance which creates cultures through power, dopamine, and love, connection, and oxytocin, and feeling that we can do it together. And I think leaders are responsible to create and hold space for that to happen.
It is my belief and my research observation that many managers, if not most of us, have vestiges, mental models that are vestiges of the industrial era that actually lead us to believe deep down erroneously that fear works. Like if you really want results, make sure people are just a little bit afraid of you.
I think what surprises me the most as I do this work internationally is how often people ask me the question, Erin, when I'm working internationally, is it better for me to be myself? I mean, should I be authentic? Or is it better for me to be flexible? Should I be adapting my style to the cultures that I'm working with in order to be more like them? And of course, the actual answer to that question is when you're working internationally, you want to be both. And I think we can think about it like we've each got two arms, right? And your right arm, that's maybe your stronger muscle. That's the one that's your authentic style, most natural and comfortable to you. If I wake you up in the middle of the night, you're likely to respond with your right arm. But just because we've got this strength in our authentic arm doesn't mean that we can't be using our left arm to learn these techniques, to adapt to the different cultures we're working with so that we can get the results that we need. And what I've really found is that global leaders, they know their authentic style and they've developed the muscle in their left hand, so they have a choice. I had this Chinese woman in my class. She said to me, Erin, in China it's kind of rude to look someone in the eye and say no clearly. But now that I'm living in France, they don't just say no, they say no, 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 no. So I feel like I'm being slapped back and forth, right? Okay, so the lesson is that if you are working with a high context indirect culture and something sounds a little bit like no or smells a little bit like no, it probably means there's no way in hell and you need to discuss further.
Speaking about this current global crisis, I could say that the biggest mistake that was made, it's unwillingness of political leaders and also public and general public to learn from the past. So many things that are happening now could have been avoided.